what's up everybody? I'm going to give my first impressions on some Crimson guitar tools I just got in. I got a 3-corner fret crowning file, a fret end beveling file, and a string spacing rule. These are all big upgrades for me, and I just want to give my first impressions of them. I did test them out a little bit, and I want to kind of just give my thoughts on them. They came packed in a padded envelope, and they were all individually wrapped in bubble wrap. So that's how they came, which is fine. It took about a month and a half for them to get here with the current pandemic and everything. It took ages. If you order under 100 pounds worth of British pounds, their currency, of goods, they don't give you a tracking number, so be advised of that. You might be able to pay them extra for the tracking. Totally makes sense to me. So let's start off with the crowning file. I love this thing. I tried it out real quick and I absolutely love it. It's really well made. Let me try to give you as good a close-up as I can. This lens is not the best at close-up. It's obviously handmade. You know, it's not absolutely perfect. It's not made by a CNC machine, and I like that. It's got a really nice wood handle. I'm not sure what kind of wood that is. Similar to mahogany, but not quite. I don't know what it is. We've got a really nice file. The file itself is made in India, but don't let that scare you. It's really well made. They did a really nice job of rounding over the corners, and the end is rounded off nicely as well. Could they have spent a little longer polishing the end to make it perfect looking? Yeah, but for the price, and why do you need that? You don't. So not a complaint, just an observation. Otherwise, the weight's really nice. It's got a really nice cut on it, on the teeth. It's fairly aggressive, but not crazy. And I tried it, and it doesn't leave very much chatter at all. It's a really nice mix of aggressive cut and smooth cut. So I think anyone would be really happy with this, and for the price, it stomps what you can get from Stu Mac. I had been using a combination of this Fret Guru file, which I just don't like this design. I love Fret Guru stuff, but it's just a pain in the ass to use. I just don't like the design. There's not enough control, and you've got to have just the right size fret for the two different sides, and it's kind of a crapshoot whether you're going to take off the top and have to re-level everything again. Maybe, you know, some people are better at using these than others, but I just don't feel like I have enough control, and I don't like that. It is fast, though, but I was actually a little faster with this, and it didn't leave nearly as much chatter. The other one that I use is this little 3-corner file. I rounded over the edges in the end. Haven't made a handle for it yet. It's very fine, so it takes ages to use. It absolutely takes ages, but there's no chatter with this thing at all. I can get a really smooth result. So I think the way I'm going to do this from now on is use this one for the main part. If I need to fine-tune, I'll use this to make, you know, cleaning up all the chatter and file marks faster. The next one I got is this fret end beveling file, and this one is also made by hand and made really well. The handle itself is very comfortable to use, and the underside, and I haven't seen this on any other fret end beveling file, it's got an angle to it, which makes the angle of the fret ends just how I would want them. And the file itself doesn't hang down so low that if you go too far, you're going to dig into the whole fretboard. It means that, you know, depending on the fretboard and depending on the height of the frets, you're digging into the fretboard a little bit, which I really like a Taylor, how they go into the fretboard and round the whole thing over. It's more comfortable that way. You lose just a little bit of, you know, plane surface, but it's way more comfortable that way, you know, versus most guitar companies and the bevel at the very bottom of the frets. I like how this, you can dig into the bottom if you want, and you can make it super symmetrical and super perfect. I find it difficult, you know, when using a bastard file or just a flat file to get that bevel perfect the whole way down and dig into the board perfectly every time, and that's what this allows me to do. So it's really nice. They ground off the very bottom. You know, you shouldn't use much pressure. It's a fairly aggressive cut. You shouldn't need to use any pressure really to push down on this thing, but if you do and you skip and you hop over, because it's flattened down here, you shouldn't scar up your frets too bad. So that's nice, and also it'll sit flat. Let me get something flat. I guess this. So the file itself is not digging in, you know, to anything, so it can sit flat without hitting the file. So if you need to do that, that's good. Other than that, like I said, fairly aggressive cut. It's very well made. I really like the grain on the top. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. It's beautiful wood. Just overall, really impressed with this thing. This is a welcome addition, and it was way less than what StewMac charges. The quality's higher, and when you have a tool that you really appreciate like this, I feel like you're more in tune with it versus the StewMac one's made out of like cutting board material, whatever it is, and it just, I don't know. There's something about a handmade tool that just feels better, and it's more of a, it's gonna sound really stupid, but more of like a spiritual experience. You're more in tune with what you're working on. They also rounded over right here a little bit, so if you come in kind of hot and you come in at an angle, it's not gonna just like dig in. That's nice. You can work a little faster that way. That's good. I like that. Overall, definitely a big thumbs up. And I'll compare these to StewMac and Fret Guru, the other two brands I use, in a second here. This is the string spacing rule. These are way overpriced on StewMac, even Amazon, and they're cheap. And this one's nice and flexible. You can easily contort it to whatever shape you need to the nut you're working on. Really nice, nicely laser etched. You got the logo on here. You've got instructions on the back. You've got a hole at both ends, so you can hang this thing up on a wall. And the edges are really nice. You could totally use this as a straight edge as long as it wasn't too fine. I guess it is a little bit rough on the edges. I would use a real straight edge if you really need something fine. But if you just need something that's straight right away, I would say this is good. Actually, here's my precision ground straight edge. Yeah, I'd feel confident using this as a straight edge. It just up here, it just goes in the slightest bit, but for something quick, it'd totally work. Yeah, nice piece, definitely, especially for the price. The edges, more of just an observation than a judgment. They are a little sharp. They're not going to cut you or anything. If you wanted them, smoother, you could totally just take a piece of sandpaper and just smooth them out real quick. For the price, absolutely no complaint. This is the best deal, and it's well made, and it's going to do the job just fine. So, how do these compare to StewMac tools? Well, let's talk about the file. So this is really nicely ground on the edges, perfectly smooth. They just did a really nice job, and they went in the right amount, and the edge is nice and smooth, and the handle's really well done, and wood, and it's obviously finished with something, probably just some wipe-on poly. This is really nice. So StewMac, the files I have, let's compare this to my nuts, the slot the nut fits into on the fretboard. That's what this is made for, to smooth out the wood and create a nice square surface. The edges are not smooth, so I have to, I realized last time I used this, I should have checked it before. I've got to sand this down and smooth this out, so it's unfinished. The edges, they did round over, but they just grabbed one and stuck it on a belt sander like that, and that's it. They didn't put any real attention to detail into it, which is fine. But the edges here, you really have to go over and finish this, because otherwise you're going to dig into wood. And it's the same thing with some of their, what are these, fret shaping files, I think they're called. Same thing, really sharp on this edge. You got to go in and take care of that, which they didn't do from the factory. The edge is really sharp too, which is probably not a big deal, but definitely a lot less attention to detail. Price is higher. These usually have these rubber handles, which I like. They're grippy and they're comfortable, and they're easy. No real complaints on the handles. Here's a Fret Guru fret end file for rounding over the fret ends, and they did a really nice job on this. The edge is really nicely rounded over, and the teeth are not quite as aggressive as I'd like, but the handle's nice. They didn't make the handle, they just bought these in bulk. It's unfinished wood, so I should probably throw something on there. Looks like maple to me. This one's nice. They did a really good job on this. I like this. I use 3-corner files at work, but I figured I'd give this a shot, and I really like it. Fret Guru makes good stuff. That's about it. That's about all I can say about this stuff. Yeah, I really like it. I think from now on, I'm going to, for my tools, I'm going to check crimson first, and see what they have. Their prices are really good, and their quality is really good, and I just love the feel of handmade, well done handmade tools that are well thought out, and these are definitely that. So I'll check them first. If they don't have what I need, I'll check Fret Guru because they make really good stuff, especially for the price. Not so much a fan of this, but it's more of this style of fret crowning file. I just don't like. It's just not for me. I like the 3-corner file, way more control for me, and I get more consistent results without the risk of screwing it up like I did with this a couple times. But yeah, Fret Guru is definitely second. I really like them. I've got their leveling beam, and I absolutely love this thing. Little tip for these: put some masking tape on before you put the sandpaper on. I left some sandpaper on here for a couple weeks, and it was a pain in the ass to get all that sticky stuff off. But I love this thing. It's really well done. And third would be Stu Mac because they have everything, but it's expensive and it's not always the best made. Most of it's just rebranded Chinese stuff. Love their nut slotting files though. These are great. These are what I use at work at a big professional high-end American guitar factory. This is mostly what they use. They have another brand they use sometimes too, but mostly the Stu Mac stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.